welcome back. Welcome back to season 5 of Ready, Set, Real Estate. Available on radio podcasts everywhere. We broadcast live on Wednesdays on demand. What does that mean? That just means I don't have a set time anymore. When this show first kicked off, I was committed to 11 a.m. And now your girl's just involved in my day-to-day business. And so I have to work around my own schedule to bring this powerful and information-packed show to a cell phone, PC, tablet near you. With that being said, I want to invite you to tag, share, go ahead and let someone know that we're about to learn some real estate gems today, dropped by yours truly, Super Agent. My name is Lisa Puerto, and I am your host, creator, and founder of Ready, Set, Real Estate, and many, many cool things like webinars, workshops, books, programs, curriculums, on and on and on that you can check out at lasuperagent.com. Hello, welcome. All right, let me just bring my track down. I believe that one is by Henry West Coast Brown. Shout out to Henry West Coast Brown. I know I haven't seen Henry in a long time, but he's always tagging me on Instagram. He's always tagging me. And I know I'm one of the administrators of many Facebook groups, which is pretty awesome. How are you feeling? Go ahead and drop a comment down below. Say hi, say hello if you're catching this on the live. This means you get to ask your own questions as it relates to this show topic. I called it easy in, easy out. What does that mean? Lisa, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. Let's see. I want to do the caption here. What am I talking about when I say easy in, easy out? San Diego's in the building. Veronica, thank you for chiming in. Oh, you're really binging, huh? She just caught the replay of my video earlier when I was showing a property, and I said to the viewing audience, what are you looking for in a home? And yes, I feel like, you know me, I put a different spin when people, agents are trying to give you the tour of how wonderful the home is. I'm going to show you the stuff that you need to be looking at. All that stuff is staged, painted, looks pretty. Let's start uncovering some stuff. Flushing toilet, checking the pressure. What's going on with the ceiling? Is there a leak in the roof? What's going on with the foundation? And what about my electrical? So that's how I bring it, and my clients know. And for those of you who are on that journey of looking into investing in real estate, this is not something you take lightly, okay? And this is what I said earlier on. I said, this is not about playing house. Stop wanting to play house with real estate. This is a huge investment. Before I jump into today's show, really jump in, I want to remind you that this show is a proud supporter of Real Estate 100 Youth Foundation, where we teach, seek, and empower youth ages 11 and up with real estate literacy, terms, concepts, and careers as an alternate pathway to success. So what does that mean? I mean, we got to start with the babies if we want to see our communities build wealth. So if our children and our children's children learn, then we will see ourselves better off in the future. And that onus is on you. If you know there's something like this available, if you know there's a program or, we have the curriculums available for them to access, it's on you to share that with them. And I continue to encourage and support you in your journey and learning more, and as much as possible when it comes to real estate, because it's a never-ending learning experience. Real estate is not when you buy a house, that's it, pop the bottle, Moet, we did it, we got our keys, we move in. No. There's this thing called estate planning. And I'm going to touch on a snippet of it. And for those of you who are members and supporters, you actually have access to the full enchilada of this. This was actually a full-blown webinar that you do have access to. If you don't have your code, make sure you email me. That way you can get your code, and it gives you a free, you get in there and it unlocks it. Whatever it does, it unlocks it. So yes, so Veronica says, hold on, let me do this. I really like to make sure we highlight you so Alfred can see you were on the show tonight. She says, oh yes, that's right. So Veronica mentioned a comment about, she said the backwards water temperature valves was classic. Right, so the sink, the hot water, or I should say the kitchen faucets were set up, and I see that it said hot and cold, and the hot water never got hot. And I could have probably stood there all day, it never got hot. So those are things that I didn't need a general inspection to come out and tell me that I'm going to have to deal with this. There's something going on. And there's some other things, so I kind of guide you through that, coach you through that. So I'm glad if you really found value in that, because sometimes you feel like you walk in a property and it's like the library, you have to be hush, shh, don't touch, right? Of course, if they say don't touch, if there's signs around, some agents will put signs and disclaimers and stuff like that. But definitely feel free and say, hey, is it okay if I walk through and just kind of test some things out? Go ahead and check in with them. And it's fine, because you wouldn't buy a car without test driving it. And I keep saying this to you. You would not buy a car without test driving it. So why are you buying property without exploring it? Does the door close properly? And you guys saw that particular property, the air, it just had so much space down below, so the air was escaping down below. Yeah, she says, cracked slab likely in that house, run away. No, don't run away, Veronica, don't run away. You know why? Because we can negotiate that. That impacts reduction. That's a material defect. Material defects affects the saleability of a property, therefore the value of a property. So don't run away. I like to share that with my clients. When I share those things, it's not for you to go, ooh, because every single house, including new construction, is going to have an issue. I don't know if you guys realize, oh, that was Alfred. Yo, okay, let me re-highlight. That's Alfred in here. Alfred's in the building. So let me say this. I love this because you guys get almost your one-on-one consult right now. This is why when you catch the live, you get all your questions answered. It's a great way. And I don't mind doing it. You guys know I don't mind doing it. So yes, I felt, today I was moved to do a video while I was working. I know many people said, I can only imagine if you had a video crew following you throughout your day, we would see so many things. Yeah, like phone calls about litigations, phone call, the day-to-day, the blow-ups, not with me. I'm a lot more controlled. Hey, Vivian's in the building. I see you're up late catching us on the live. Thank you for chiming in. Oh, this is going to be a great show because you guys always ask great questions. So this is great. Make sure you go ahead and share and let someone know what we're going to talk about. So today's topic, let me go highlight that. Let me go back to my, let's see, where is it? I thought I put my comment in here. Here we go. There it is. Season, oh no, that's not, that's season 5. We're season 5, episode 2. Let me plug it in here while you guys get your questions going, because today's topic is we're going to discuss is when it's over. Easy in, easy out. Is it? Is it easy in, easy out? When you get your foot in the door, you did all that work. These are for those of you. I'm going to give you a couple scenarios, and we're going to talk about in an example of when you add someone a property, and let's say it's over. right? What do we do when it's over? You want to do something different. A lot of people are being held hostage in real estate. Could you be one of them? If you're listening, if you know somebody right now that needs to hear this, are they being held hostage in real estate? I think that's a better time. Are you being held hostage in real estate? I renamed it, you guys. I renamed today's show. I think that one's better. Are you being held, look at me, hostage? Come on, let's edit. Being held hostage. All right, good. Got your drinks, got your notes. Make sure you have your pen, pad, paper, tablet, text yourself notes. Are you being held hostage in real estate? I mentioned about easy in, easy out. So essentially what I was referring to, when you get your foot in the door, you've been so diligent, and you got it done. Kudos to you. Congratulations. You did that. Now here's what's significant, right? Here's what's important is that now that you have the keys and you actually have something recorded in your name, it's recorded in your name that you are the owner. So from an example of sole owner, right? Sole ownership, I highly, highly, highly recommend. And for those of you who are my single owner, my sole owner clients, you know who you are. I've been texting you. As a matter of fact, I've been texting some of you. Look, I was just double checking because some of you I was texting just now, and you guys are sole owners. And what do I say every time I get on a text message with you? Hey, how's that living trust going? That's what this is all about. It would be a disservice to you if I don't continue to remind you that my job as your professional, as your advisor, does not end when I put you in the door. Why? And I'm going to show you why. We're going to learn why today. This is going to be very, very heavy and very needed. This is a mature conversation. We're not playing house with real estate. We don't play house with real estate. I see a lot of people do. And, they think it's this wonderful idea. Me and Bay, we going to do this. I just met Bay last December and met Bay last December at the club. And now I feel like we want to do group economics. We want to buy back the block. We want to do this together. And then you get into property ownership together. That's going to be a potential challenge because do you truly know who that person is? So let me slow down. So let's talk about in terms of single owner, right? So this is sole ownership. And let me just give a full disclaimer right now because I'm going to talk about legal things, and the legal matters is called vesting. Please type that down in the comments below, because when you are going to be purchasing property, if you're not yet an owner, or even if you are an owner, this is something you should be paying attention to with the recording of the title, your name, your marital status, single, married, widow, single, married, unmarried, sole and separate, or joint tenancy, community property, tenants in common. All right. So go ahead and type in the comments below, vesting, vesting. This is very important. I want you to look this up after you finish listening to me today. All right. So as a sole owner, right? Single person, you did that. Everybody's celebrating you, shout out to single people, all that stuff, whatever you want to, however they celebrate. That's cool. That's wonderful. Shout out to you, single owner. But it doesn't end there. Why? Because if you single owner has children, right? Those of you, shout out to single moms, shout out to single dads, shout out to single grandparents raising children, their grandchildren, whatever your status and position that you're celebrating, as a sole owner, means when you die. This is why I said this is mature, and it's going to be the hard conversation. These are the conversations you may not want to have in the process of buying, but these are the conversations that you are actually signing. You are signing and making a decision about death at the time of purchasing real estate. Did you know that? Did you know at the time of purchasing real estate, you are making a decision about death at the same time? Meaning, what is to happen? You are deciding at that time when you fill out your vesting, what is to happen with the real estate, the home, the property when you die. Ooh, did you know that? I didn't know you. Oh, I don't think you were expecting we were going to go this deep. Woo! And all I had was a non-alcoholic pina colada. It's really great. Shout out to Mom for making it. It's really good. She's figured out the mix. It's awesome. So with that being said, are there any questions right now before I move forward? I've got some active viewing, listening audience right now. Oh, Vivian says, I didn't know this. Okay. Who else is in here? Didn't know. Veronica says, weren't aware. Okay. I like this honesty. That means we're learning something. Very good. Very good. So yes, that means at the time, and that vesting, type that in, VESTING. Look it up after that. Would, research the stuff I share. Look it up always. And the reason why I say I have to do the disclaimer, because this is a legal matter, something you may want to consult an attorney about. This is not something Lisa gives I don't make that decision for you. I can say, we can say what the types are. I can give you a pamphlet, a brochure of information of the different types of vesting. I can't make that decision for you, nor will I ever make that decision for you. That's something you should be consulting so you clearly understand what the consequences or ramifications are posthumous, which means after death. So when you are signing, woohoo, close on your property, at the same time, you are deciding on what is to happen with that property when you die. Okay, good stuff. How you feeling? You gonna learn something tonight. I'm really excited when I get to share this with you guys. I really am. It really gives me an honor because I'm very, very diligent in my business, and I want to see more professionals do that extra step to do right by that client. It's not just about the deal. It's not just about the home ownership. The biggest reason we lose wealth in our community is because of the vesting. The reason we lose wealth in our community is because of the way we are taking title to properties. Okay. And again, we're not going to go deep because this is deep. What's really cool, I want to show you, I want to challenge you and ask you this question. Okay. If now as a single owner, you add your fiance or your spouse or your partner onto title, now they're a joint owner with you. They're either joint tenant or tenant in common or community property. Those are the types of vesting. You can look them up. Again, I want to just give you the word so you can look into that and really understand this. I'm here to guide you. This is me guiding you so that we're unpacking what's happening at the time of purchase, the time of investment. The reason why the next part is significant when you are adding someone is because when you add someone, you have given that person part ownership to your property. Husband and wife, if you do it together, that means you're both owners. You have your share, she has her share, or however, right? 50-50 is essentially how it's split. Now, depending on the vesting is going to impact who gets it, who gets what, and what share when one of the owners die, one or both owners die. So let me go back. Let me bring it back to sole ownership, because I want to make a point right now for those who, for all of you who have closed real estate up to this date. Shout out to all of you, single moms, single parents, single grandparents. Kudos to you. Has your professional, your team of professionals, your top 5, if you don't know your top 5, come see me. Has your team of professionals recommended that you now consider preparing a living trust? If you're someone that even has assets right now, pensions, bank accounts, and all that stuff, you have assets, you should have a living trust. Don't wait till you get real estate to prepare a living trust, especially if you have children. If you have assets now, that's something you can do. You can create a living trust and put your bank accounts in the living trust. Okay? So I want to say this for those of you who are sole owners. SOLE means single owner, sole ownerships. It's imperative that you look into meeting with an estate planning attorney so that they can go over what your situation is and prepare a living trust. Shout out to the people that I've consulted with that have moved forward with that from here to New York. From here to New York. I mean, yo, and I give credit to the various panels that I spoke on, the workshops that I've done from here, universities, conferences and conventions. Anyone who's had me has heard me say this, and I really appreciate those who did something about it. You know, we don't just listen to someone. You take action. You take action with what that person was saying and sharing with you, because they are empowering you for long term, right? Long game. This is long game. This is long game. Regardless of what's happening with the market, right? We had a great episode, market shift versus mindset shift. This is mindset shift when we talk about legacy and wealth building. This is mindset shift. All right, how we feeling? Okay, cool. So I actually, let's see, let's do this. Sole ownership. So now I ask you, you all booed up, bayed up, you're married, and that's wonderful. And I want to see that you be successful in your relationships. I do. I want to see you. I want to see you successful in your relationships. This is why I do personal development. Shift Your Thinking Daily is because I want you to grow and sustain your relationships. Why? Because your relationships are actually there's a correlation between your relationship, your happiness in your relationship, and your correlation to your real estate. There's a direct correlation, studies have shown, okay? Now, why is that significant? Because if you now are in a relationship and you have added someone a title, I ask you this question. When it gets rocky, when it gets ugly and sticky, and someone wants out, are they able to sell the property if you don't want to sell it? It's your home. Can they sell the property? I'm going to wait. Vivian says, were you answering this question? Vivian, I think, is saying yes. Can someone sell your property? Can the other owner sell the property if you yourself don't want to sell the property? Pop quiz. Pop quiz. I need my do 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 do. Do 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 do. All right. So any guesses? Veronica says, I say yes. Okay. Vivian, you're saying yes. I think Vivian's saying yes. All right. So anyone else who's viewing, you want to chime in? There's no right or wrong answer. There's only learning here. That's what Ready Set Real Estate is about. Vivian says, no, they cannot. So Vivian, Veronica says, I say yes. The question right now is, if you've added someone and they've decided to sell the property, can they sell the property? Vivian says, no, they cannot. Alfred says, yes. Anyone else? Any more guesses? Any more guesses? Do. Okay, cool. All right. So thank you guys for participating in that. I'm glad because this is learning. There's no right or wrong answers. It's only about learning. So the question is, yes, they can sell their 50% interest. They can sell the property. The topic of the show was, are you being held hostage in real estate? You cannot legally hold someone hostage. And without putting anyone's business out there, this is what I've experienced in business. This is why these are the talking points I'm going to have with you, as opposed to it's rainbows and butterflies and look at the light fixtures and look how wonderful the floor. And see, I mean, we could get past that. But I think if this is really about long game, then it's about sitting down and having the hard, difficult conversations, relationships, and death. Vivian says, wow. Oh, yes. Someone learning, I say you're going to learn. This is what this is about. They can. So what does that mean? All right, so now let me go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to do it this way. Okay, viewing audience. I know for those of you who are tuning in on the radio podcast, you can't see this, but definitely subscribe. You'll get, we can get this in your inbox. That way you have this image, or check it out on YouTube on the archive. Again, subscribe to at lasuperagent on all your favorite social media platforms. And you'll see this available on YouTube. So this is a great thing to screenshot right now, and keep this in your back pocket in your notes. So we're gonna talk about rights to partition. This is actually a legal right. This is a legal right to partition, meaning sell, divide the asset. And listen, it says any owner has the right to sell their share of the property. Why is this significant right now? Because there's a company going around. I don't want to bash them, but for those of you who are working with me, you get this information, okay? You're going to get this in your inbox because you've signed on to the scam and fraud alerts, and that's part of your plan for those of you who are subscribed and listening. So you get to know which companies I'm keeping an eye on and some companies that you need to stay away from. So there's a company that literally just came out about 30 days ago. They will actually lend you money in exchange for 30%. It's 1/3. They say they'll give you the money, and up to $750,000 if you're in California, up to $750,000. They will give you X amount of dollars with some other fees and like 2%, plus 2% for inflation and all this other stuff that they build in, for 1/3 of your property. You think 1/3 is a lot? Imagine a pie. Right? Take a pie and do three, make it into 3 pieces. 1/3. All they're asking for is 1/3. Do you know how much game that is right now? That somebody can come to you and say, I will give you some money. I want 1/3 of your property. You don't even have to pay me back until 10 years. That's what they're saying. You don't even have to pay me back in 10 years. No bill. I'm not going to come after you. I just want 1/3. If you need money, because the saying is you're property rich, cash poor. We know it happens. We know life happens. These are one of the scenarios you need to be aware of. Homeowner beware, buyer beware. Buyer beware as well, because this is why I say your job in terms of now being a landlord, a homeowner, does not end when you get the keys. It begins, and it's a bigger responsibility than you realize. Okay, so this is, when I saw this, y'all, I was upset. And then I said, you know what? Don't get upset, Lisa. Just educate the tribe, educate the community. Don't get upset. Whoever signs on, they sign on. There's nothing we could do about that, right? But here's why this company can do this and say they're not even, you don't even have to pay them because of this. Look, right here, let me point right there. This right here, this right there. This is why, in exchange for the funds, and you sign on to 1/3, that means if you don't pay them back, guess what? They get to force the sale of your home to recover their money. One of two things are going to happen. You will have to buy them out, and the court orders that based on appraised value. Based on appraised value, you will have to buy their percentage out. That means you'd have to qualify for a standard loan or a hard money loan, or prayerfully that you just got that much money stacked that you can buy out the other person. If you're not in that situation, because more than likely, if you had to do this to get money, you more than likely don't have money, which means they can force the sale on the property. You end up getting your share, they get theirs and some. How you feel about that? How do you feel about this? So I'll continue. It's called rights to partition. And like I said, I'm just make a note to self to send the company, send company info. Owners beware. Owners beware. Okay, cool. Yes, Vivian, so many scams, so many scams. And that's just a snippet of it. There's so much. There's so much. I don't say this. I'm not saying this for you to be afraid or live in fear, because you have Super Agent and the team, and you have other people, your trusted advisors that you should be developing, that you could lean on to support you. Because again, it's not about popping bottles. Woohoo, we did it. We got the keys. We're owners, which most people think that's when it's over. You think, woo, oh man, escrow, settlement. Wow, I got through that. There's just so much more that's involved. And when we talk about long-term and long game, this is why this is significant. All right, so I'm going to read this for you, just in case I have to read it for my listening audience. So we're now discussing rights to partition, and this is a legal right to any owner listed on title to a property. They have the right to sell their share of the property. Now, the other game, I'm just dropping gems tonight. I could feel it, and someone needs to hear this. It's okay. Someone needs to hear it. Go ahead and share this. The other part is that when relationships tend to end, because there's a lot of people who are in disgruntled situations, somebody wants out. And so they feel like if they want out and they say, hey, let's talk about it, let's sell, and they're bickering back and forth, right? They don't even want to talk about it, and they don't want to come to an agreement, then it's going to be a real nasty surprise to the person who doesn't want to agree, that if that person is aware of this little stipulation right here called right to partition, or your partition rights, this little stipulation here about ownership, and if you're working with me, oh, you gonna get out the situation. You're not gonna be trapped or held hostage. Guaranteed, you will not be in this situation. If you want to be in this situation, then you can be. That's your choice, but know that this is your choice as well. All right. So it says if all agree, meaning if hey, it's over, you kind of want to move on. As a matter of fact, I just met someone out in the field the other day. I was out prospecting, and he was one of 3 owners, and it's a headache situation because they've taken on a property to rent it. And he said, I feel like maybe we should have just brought in a property management company to manage the tenants, because tenants are like 50-50. You either get good tenants, or you either get good, bad, ugly, right? So depending, you don't really know. I mean, you could do your best to qualify tenants and screen tenants. Things happen. People act one way on the surface, and then they become something different once they get what they want. So, and I've seen that when you start to ruffle the lion's den or mess with the lion's den, I've seen tenants really do some nasty things. I've been in those situations where I've had to evict tenants, and it's not fun. It's very threatening when because you're affecting someone's housing, right? You're putting them. You didn't put them there, but you exercising your rights to remove them out of that situation. That makes it really get challenging and ugly. All right. So Alfred says, word. Yep. Vivian says, we should have met some years ago, Lisa. Now you met me. You met me now. It's okay. So many times I hear that, and that for me means I'm on the right track. That for me means I'm in my purpose, because literally everyone I have a one-on-one with, outside or offline, every single person has had an ugly situation that they said, gosh, I wish I would have known you, because I didn't know my rights. I didn't know I could do this, right? And sometimes you walk away and you give up a property because you think you don't have a right. But do know your rights. This is a legal right that you have. So if it gets ugly, know that bring on a team, an experienced team, to get out of that situation. So as I'm going to continue reading here for the rights to partition. It says, if none agree, so again, any owner has a right to sell their share of the property. If none agree, then the court forces the partition. If none of the parties can agree, by one of 2 ways. It's called partition by allotment. It says it's not available in all jurisdiction, but the court awards the property to one owner and orders them to pay the divided interest to the other party. For example, they buy them out. So the court orders one of the owners to then buy out the other property. Usually they give them that option, depending on how the case goes. I've had a client, he was given the option to either have his former spouse buy him out, or sell it, and he decided that he wanted to sell it. And this would lead to the next one, which is partition by sale. The court orders a sale, and the proceeds are divided amongst the owners based on your vesting. So if the vesting is, whatever the vesting is, it's typically 50%. If there's more than one owners, something to be mindful of in the situation of co-borrowers. So I know that we've been advocating about group economics and adding co-borrowers, because you can add a co-borrower even if they don't live in the property. Maybe you need the income and the credit to qualify for the property. That's fine. This, I would say, know who before you do that. Know who you're dealing with. You got to know who you're doing business with. This is business. And I would not recommend just jumping in that situation without consulting a real estate attorney, possibly to draft any stipulations to protect your interests if things go sour. Because now, let's say that person decides hey, I want out, right? And maybe they realize that this property has equity. They want to take their equity and buy their own property. You may have to buy them out. Again, that's going to have to be, again, if all agree, can you come to an agreement? Let bygones be bygones, right? What is this, Alfred? Destiny is now? I'm confused about that. I want to make sure I'm keeping up with your comments so that I can address anything as we're going through this. As you let this digest right now, gosh, I've been on that long. Woo! And this for me is like a snippet of this is a snippet, y'all. I felt like I was just going to come on and share a little bit. This is truly a little bit, and I'm on 42 minutes already. Okay, so it is your rights to partition. So you may know some folks that may need to hear this message, may need to bring on a team to help them out of this situation. And this is good for you to know, that when you are purchasing real estate, know that you are deciding on what is to happen upon your death. That is what your vesting does. Pop quiz. I'm gonna come up with some more pop quizzes. I've been doing that because as I think about these things, I don't want to continue to take what I know for granted and think that you guys know this information, because I know you don't. You guys didn't go, this is not what you do. You know what you do very well. So I feel like if you know something, teach me, show me, put me on game. This is what I know. So I'm teaching, showing you, and putting you on game. That way you're very, you're sharp about this, because this is about wealth building. It's a beautiful thing when I look up a title of a property and I see that it has a living trust. When it has a living trust, that means someone is proactive. I always ask that when when I'm out in the field, I'm prospecting for people who may be interested to sell or buy. They need to sell or buy. And some of the homeowners say, oh, no, I'm not selling. I'm not interested. And I say, great, that's wonderful. Do you have a living trust in place? Some say no, and they look shocked. And I say, would you like a recommendation? Would you like a referral, a recommendation to a couple of our attorneys in our network to help you set that up? Because if you're saying, no, I'm not selling, well, then you're saying that you want to be there forever. But guess what? You're not going to take the property with you when you die. This is why these are hard conversations. So this is why it's important that we are being proactive. This is a proactive approach. All right. Any questions? Because I'm going to get ready to wrap this up. Any questions? Drop them now or forever hold your peace. Any questions? Let me know. I'll give you a moment or two. So Vivian asks, are contractors going to be part of one of our discussions? Oh, yes. Working with contractors, what to expect? Yes. Contractors are very key. Very key. Like when working with contractors, and be careful of this thing called mechanics liens. They can record a mechanic lien against your property in order to recover payment for services. So there are some things that I share with clients offline about what to do to protect themselves when they're working with contractors. Because it's difficult. I know I'm in the business. It's difficult to find a reputable contractor. It's difficult to find somebody that actually shows up and does the work. I have a very small circle that does perform and that are reputable, and they offer more advice and they show you ways how to save on your own. And I appreciate that when someone gives more. than what they're expected, because that's people you want to rock with, you know. Veronica says, this was good. Thank you. Absolutely. You are welcome. Um, all right. I think we're good. I think this was good. I like it. Short, sweet, powerful. This is how we do it. This is how we do it. All right. With that being said, I'm going to bring on a guest next week. I anticipate our schedule will work out. We get to feature another independent contract. I would say another business or person in real estate that most people oversee all the time. I tell you, everybody's in real estate, including you, depending if you're owning or renting. You still partake in this $1.3 trillion industry. And it's just a question of what side do you want to be on, right? All right, with that being said, y'all have a fantastic and fabulous night. I know I will. It was an absolute joy. Make sure you subscribe to the radio podcast everywhere. Thank you for your continued support. Grab the merch. You know, I'm wearing the dress. It's hot. It's hot. And snapbacks, hoodies are available as well. Remember, a portion of those proceeds go to support Real Estate 100 Youth Foundation. I got Mark Daniels on. He says, sure, I don't mind. Let me see. I'm taking questions. Veronica says, have a wonderful evening. Thank you. And let's see. I have one more question. Mark says, he says, real quick, will you cover any information that relates to how you get started with commercial planning when looking for a space? Oh, that's a good one. Commercial leases, right? It's funny because I'm taking a client out tomorrow to look at a commercial space. And one of the things that I was suggesting, especially with the small businesses, getting into the lease game and then maybe running an analysis. So this is you getting together with a lender professional. And I was asking my colleagues, because I lost the contact for my SBA 504 loan lender. That's the Small Business Administration. Listen, for businesses, you can essentially, there's like a first time home buyer program, a low down payment program for businesses like there are for individuals. Isn't that amazing? They offer a low down payment at 10% with a great low interest rate and a long-term fixed rate loan. So it's getting connected with people who are familiar with that. So I can cover snippets of it, but if it's going to require a little bit more, I suggest that you get connected and join. Join propertyownersedu.com. I think propertyownersedu.com. I would suggest that way you can work with someone to help and get you to that space. Great question. Yeah, like I said, the client I'm taking tomorrow, we're going to look at a space, but with the amount she's paying, I suggested that we run the numbers and see if it makes sense for her to own versus to continue leasing. And sometimes we see that. We see the spaces and the different leases that are available that may not make at some point, it won't make financial sense for that business. It won't continue to be profitable for that business. Okay, so those are things to look at. Anything commercial is advanced. That's a whole advance. But Mark, I appreciate your question, and it was great sharing your platform. So I think you and I definitely will continue to build on that. You want to look into SBA 504 loans as a small business owner. Okay. All right. Great questions, y'all. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. This was so wonderful. I will see you next time, next week, as we continue Ready, Set, Real Estate. Y'all are amazing. Bye.